put it together so that you have your listing for the day. That now going to take 1 month, and then the next month of is straight campaign. So workers meeting, through the pandemic, it kind of slowed, but we're picking it back up now. And 60 days, give me 30. Any amount of time from the bell ring, we're ready. From the bell ring, we're ready.
And Whitney,
Like
when you say
I
ready,
said before,
when
Chopper,
you say ready,
I'm not afraid. I get excited by elections. Like,
when you say you're
I'm
ready,
drained, no waiting. I'm drained. I'm
Whitney,
waiting too long.
Whitney,
Just give it to me.
Whitney, when you say
Right? I don't say
ready,
we lose or draw. I said win or learn.
when you say ready, do you understand what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Win
Means
or
you're
learn,
ready.
Chopper.
All right.
So if you don't learn, you teach. And we beat
All
and
right.
teach.
There you
So
go. That's
anything,
Whitney. That's
anytime,
Whitney.
I'm ready.
Whitney says she's ready and she would have done the
Times.
work, and the people of the Brampton Division would have returned her to Black River because she has done the work. Because that's the only thing that's going to get you there.
Yeah.
The work on the ground and staying connected with your people, that is key. I will not speak to anything else in your constituency because I know you and Barbara Green is like this. And
Yeah.
Barbara Green and his councillors, caretakers don't have any issue. There are other MPs and other councillors who will have issues. I know you
Mhm.
don't. They don't have that sort of problem. So again, I'll give you the last word because the people of Brompton, they are on this live like crazy. They want to hear from their councillor. Go ahead, Whitney. You have the last word.
Thank you so much. I just want to remind everybody that I am not Whitney by myself. I'm not Whitney Smith Curry by myself. So without my family, my husband, my parents, my siblings, my cousins. Trust me, I have more cousins than anybody else in the Birmingham division. And this is before politics. So you can just imagine. So I would be anywhere without my family and my Brompton division family. All my workers, from supervisor to PD captain to runner to driver, everybody, my cluster managers, this would not be possible without them. And I tell any candidate, I tell any caretaker this, just remember, when your workers feel the victory, when your workers feel you as an individual can pick up them phone and call it anytime, right? I only have one phone for the sole purpose because I don't want to say I left one phone a yard or anything like that. I have one phone, one number, one WhatsApp, one everything, right? So if my battery dead, nobody can get me, right? And that rarely happens. And I tell people, I am accessible. If you call me and don't get me, WhatsApp me, you'll get me. I take Messenger on Facebook. I take Instagram messages. I help people through all mediums, text message, anything. As I said, I have one phone. That's for the sole purpose for you to contact me. And when you get the number, you keep the number, right? So the reality is, my Brompton Division family had took me from 2014 into 2016 election, and they're taking me now through the entire term. And I love them and I appreciate them. And as much as they're miserable at times, trust me, they are my favorite set of people. I wouldn't choose any other set of people because they have allowed me to serve them and not the other way around. I am serving the Brompton Division because I give of myself. And sometimes it's a lot. But I remember all the God bless yous, all the thank you, and even somebody cussing for help me if he say, look, go there so instead of go there so. Do this instead of do that. Because they teach me I am not too big to learn and I appreciate everything. So sometimes my little sister would say, I don't like going and go on the road with you because when you go on the road, you're not coming back, right? Or you stop and talk to everybody, or you call to everybody, how you do it. But the reality is, I am not daunted by the criticism. I'm not daunted by the propagandas. I'm not daunted by anything. I am focus on the ultimate prize. And the ultimate prize is to make the Brompton division better than I came and saw it. And I know I have done that already, but I have so much more to do. And I know that the people will give me another opportunity to continue to serve them, because serving them is what I am about and what I do. So I want to thank everybody from the Brompton Division and my family for continuing to supporting me, continue to lifting me up, constructive criticism, fuss and boss. But are my people them, me not give them up for nobody. And I know they won't give me up for anybody. So anybody want to come? If PJ want to come back, if Mama P want to come back, if Bunty want to come down, anybody, we're ready.
Well, there you have it, folks. Whitney Smith Curry. And like I promised her husband not to make that mistake again. Whitney, well said. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. I appreciate the work that you have been doing. And I myself have spoken to persons in the Brompton division, and a lot of persons are very pleased with the work that you're doing. They want you to lobby more for water. They want you to lobby more for their
Working on it.
roads. Of course, we know that the road situation is something that is coming. That's going to be fixed very soon. So thank you again.
Oh, just before what? It slipped me, Chopper. I just
Yes.
want to remind everybody that the housing program is on the way. We have 2 houses to be opened soon by the Prime Minister. One in Prospect, one in Middle Quarters, one soon in Brompton, and we're working on it. Back to school, you know where to find me at the Municipal Corporation. I was going to say Parish Council. The Parish Council Municipal Corporation, we help hundreds of students every year, and we continue to do so. So all the programs are still ongoing. Check the MP's office, check the Municipal Corporation for anything. Grave digging, all of that. We help with so much things. People ask me if I love funerals, Chopper. I really don't, especially after losing some really close friends, but I go to support all as much as possible, because sometimes 3-4 funerals in one day, you can't go everywhere. But I try my best to support the parties, support the funerals, and stay on the ground and stay in touch. So all the persons who really need the assistance, it is ongoing. So just reach out.
Good.
Yeah,
Sounds good. I love the connection part of it, where you're staying connected to your people. So that, again, I appreciate it. Whitney, all the best to you, and stay connected.
Thank you. And I enjoy the rest of the program as always. Continue doing the good job. You have highlighted a lot of things that needs to be highlighted. I want to thank you and keep it up. We need more people like you, because we have to push back on the negative narrative and push the positive forward.
Thank you, Whitney. All the best to
Keep it
you.
up. All right,
bye-bye.
take care.
All right, so there you have it, folks. That was Whitney Smith Curry, and I promise I'll never forget that again. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to bring another councillor caretaker from the Central Westmoreland constituency, and she hails from the. Let me bring her on screen here. There you go. Good evening, my dear Carleen Vickers.
Good evening, Chopper.
How are you?
Good evening to you, my lovely viewers.
Awesome. Talk to us. Tell us what's happening in your neck of the woods. I gather that you were out there on the road today, walking and meeting, and you have enough feedback there. Let's see if we can get that out a little bit.
Always out there, always visible. I try to make myself visible out there.
Yes.
Because I know that's the most important role for a caretaker, not being a counselor yet.
All right, well, talk to us. Tell us a little bit about you. We have enough feedback there, my dear. I don't know if you have me on a speakerphone, but we're having a terrible feedback. Carleen, if somebody else have a radio on near you or something, I don't know. But there's a feedback there.
I'm not sure if it was a fan, but
But go ahead and tell us, who is Carleen Vickers?
All right. So, Colin Vickers,
Mm-hmm.
the future counselor for Sub North Division
Good.
in Central Westmoreland. I have been representing the division since August 2020. 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 3 years.
So you've been a council caretaker for 3 years now, right?
Yes.
Good.
About me, I am a very down to earth, loyal, honest
Mm-hmm.
person. I am not about promises, Chopper.
Yes.
I do not make promises. And I do not like promises, and I do not like to be promised. I rather be I rather talk truth and be straightforward than lie to cover up.
Yes.
I tell it as it is. I love people. I love to be around them. I sit with them. I talk with them. I'm not about power, money. I'm about the improvement and empowerment of my people's lives.
So let me ask you this while you're at it. I don't know. Is there somebody watching the show beside you with a phone or something? That's giving us a really bad
Yes,
feedback. So
sir.
if a second device is
Yes.
on anywhere close there, it's gonna give us a bad feedback. So if they have someone on, they need to turn it off or just move away from you.
Okay.
So you've been there for 3 years since 2020. What are some of the highlights in your division? What are some of the concerns that your constituents have as it relates to development in that division?
The main concerns, Chopper, for now, the proper infrastructure, such as road, very
Mm-hmm.
bad roads in the poor conditions. We
Mm-hmm.
have water problems.
Mm-hmm.
We have improper drainage systems and
Mm-hmm.
land title transfer. That's another story. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
informal settlements to capture lands. These are
Yes.
the roads especially are one of the main cries in North South Division.
So most of the areas that are crying out for roads aren't these areas that are informal settlement? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, some of them, and there are roads, that
Yes.
covering. Right now you cannot identify. You would think there are more roads. There were more roads
Mm-hmm.
with
So,
craters,
yeah, but you know what
so
happened,
not just.
Carlene, in a lot of these instances where there are informal communities, somebody still have a phone on and it's giving us a really bad feedback. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
I
You
on. There's no other.
you're on you're having a speakerphone,
I'm
correct?
on my phone.
Right. And do you have a headphone or something?
No.
No. All right. Let's see if we can get through it as is. But what happened, Carlene, is that some of these persons who are in informal communities, they would have set up shop in these communities
Yes.
without any prior approval. And is after living in these areas for many years, then they now require for government to supply them with the various infrastructure, water, light, and so forth, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
there's a problem there. So a lot of communities that we hear arguing over water, they're arguing over roads. Some of these are informal communities. And it's going to take a lot of education for them to understand how the wheels of government turns. Because if the roads that are properly in proper communities that are organized are having problems, can you just imagine the ones that are in informal communities? Anyhow, talk to us about. I know there have been a lot of roads that were fixed, roads that have been slated to be repaired by your member of parliament. Have you seen any of those coming through the pipeline soon?
Yes. We're looking forward soon to the Land Dialogue Phase 1
Mm-hmm.
housing scheme coming soon, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of roads have been repaired so far by the MP.
How many, do you know, you have any idea how many roads? As a matter of fact, not in the general constituency, but roads that have been repaired by the member of parliament that impact your division.
Mm-hmm. All right. So first, we had the Landalo Phase 1, water chasing, the Hatfield Housing Scheme, Gully Bank Roads.
These are all roads that have been repaired.
Yes, sir.
Good. And are you aware of any other road that have been submitted which in very short order will come through?
The Hatfield, not the scheme road this time, the Hatfield Road.
Yes.
Road leading into the community of Hatfield. Right now, what it is, we can, no taxi can taxi stop running going in that community.
Oh wow, that's bad.
Yeah, that's how bad it
When
is.
it gets to the level where taxi don't commute to those roads, it's bad. But we're having a bad connection, Carly. We're gonna cut your live and we're gonna cut your connection and try to reconnect with you in a few and to see if we can get it fixed. All right, just hang tight for a second. We're gonna cut her loose and then come back to her in a few minutes. That connection is very bad. We're getting a serious feedback and it's affecting how her presentation is coming across. But she is in the South North Division, and that's a constituency of Central Westmoreland. Of course, the member of parliament is George Wright. And George Wright has been getting a lot of roads done in that community, well, in that constituency. So I really wanted to get from her what roads were, you know, based on all the roads that have been repaired, how many would have impacted her division in a positive way. We were slated to have Godfrey on as well. He's having some internet problem down there in Westmoreland, so we might not be able to bring him on. Hopefully we can get these guys situated in a better connection, better area next week and bring them forward. So we're gonna put these guys on hold and get ourselves organized so next week we can bring them in a better environment where the connection doesn't have any problem. But that was Carleen Vickers, and she's from the South North Division. She's been there for a while, and we're hoping that when the time comes, she'll get a chance to show what she's made of. A lot of these persons who have been aspiring to become leaders in their division, leaders in their constituencies, it's good to give them an opportunity and see what it is that they're made of. I'm going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I wanna address a few things that I think is of great concern, not just to me, but to a lot of Jamaicans. And that's the whole issue of water. I would agree that there's a drought. I would agree that there's water issues throughout Jamaica. But I want to talk about it briefly before we leave. So I'll take a break and we'll come right back. Stick and stay.
It's time to come back. Back to adventurous. Being curious. Spontaneous. Back to where it all began. Dare to be bold. To be fantastic. Come back to the vibe that comes alive in Jamaica.
All right, so welcome back, folks. So as said before, water is life, and we've always made that known to people all over Jamaica how important water is. But I have a serious problem. Water crisis in Jamaica has been an ongoing thing for years, from the devil was a boy. And yet Jamaica boasts itself to be a country that is surrounded by wood and water. Surrounded by wood and water. But yet we have a national cry for water. And I notice a very unique thing is that every year it is blamed on drought. It don't make sense. It don't add up. It doesn't add up at all. It is unacceptable. Unacceptable. This water issue is unacceptable. In Montego Bay, every single hotel have water right now. There's not a hotel in Montego Bay that doesn't have water. And they're not buying water from NWC or anybody. They're getting running water in those hotels. Is it that those persons are more important than the common citizens? The citizens in Rose Heights, in Salt Spring. Eh? They're not more important. That water situation is an ongoing problem, and it goes through all the different administrations. When the PNP was in, water. Now the GLP is in power, water. There has to be a problem, there has to be a fix to it. Jamaica don't have a water shortage. Jamaica does not have a water shortage. We have a distribution shortage. We have a distribution problem. And if NWC cannot handle the job, then the Prime Minister, the government as a whole, must remove them. Remove these lazy people. They don't bring nothing to the table. If you go to NWC now, the average worker that is about 8-year-old, they've brought nothing new to the organization. They've been there for years. They can't change nothing. As close as the river is to the towns and cities, they're not capable of creating a system to bring water to the people. And under no circumstances should any organization or any entity be allowed to be running anything, and you can't bring any solution to the problem. Decades now. And every year in this NWC come to tell you about water lack off and water shortage. Why can't you fix the problem? This whole trucking of water, from when I was a boy, we had truck water. Why we can't get water to the households in Jamaica? Why? Is it a government problem? The government has spent the money. The government have money can fix the problem. But it seems to be like the government is short Wow. So I don't know what happened there, folks, but again we got disconnected. Um, let me just say thank you. Let me just take a break. Let's just take a quick break, and let's take a quick break and come back to you guys because I have absolutely no idea why we got cut off.
Hey, it's the girl Shensia with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Shenyang!
It's time to come back. Back to adventurous. Being curious. Spontaneous. Back to where it all began. Dare to be bold. To be fantastic. Come back to the vibe that comes alive in Jamaica. We'd like to invite you to come back. Back to playful. Back to adventurous. Back to the little things that can have a big impact. It's time. Come back to the way you always imagined it. In Jamaica. What the world needs now is more than a vacation. We need to come back to feeling our best selves again. Back to inviting. Back to caring. Back to life. Back to the little bit of Jamaica that's inside all of us. Come back to being lively again. Back to laid back. Back to romantic. Back to fantastic. Come back to making the best decisions you've ever made. Because, hey, we're in Jamaica. Come back to mouth-watering, heart-pumping, breathtaking. It's time, don't you think? Come back to the vibe that comes alive in Jamaica.
Great. Your blessings, my friends. Boy, I have to laugh because some of these comments are just hilarious. Some persons are saying that because you're talking about NWC and criticizing NWC, them cut you off. Well, I'm more worried about JPS, not necessarily NWC. So that was that was not NWC who cut me off. But the truth is not the truth, Rick Taylor. We are having a problem with water distribution in Jamaica for years, Sir Herbert Brown. We've been having that problem for years. And the issue I'm saying to myself, why is it that we cannot fix it? There's absolutely no need for us to come to the Jamaican people every year and to say, boy, we have a drought. And this has been happening throughout both administration. It's not a GLP or PNP thing. It's an NWC thing. But the truth is, if there's an NWC problem, it's going to come back to the government. So the government will have to take some action where NWC is concerned. I don't believe we're getting value for money where NWC is concerned. I don't believe NWC is capable of fixing Jamaica's water problem. NWC, there's water running all over town. Everywhere you go. I do not believe that NWC have it in them to fix the water issues in Jamaica. And I think the government needs to take a position and to overhaul NWC. I'm not suggesting that NWC be privatized because absolutely water must be subsidized by government. Government have a responsibility to subsidize water. So water is our human right. It's the right of a government to provide water for its people. Everything else you can skip and dance around it, but water is life. And it must be subsidized. So if we're going to spend a percentage of the budget to ensure that we get NWC up to par where every single household in Jamaica can be issued with running pipe water. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I lived in Guantanamo Bay for years. Guantanamo Bay don't have any running water anywhere except for water that comes from the sea. It's a desalinization of water that the reverse osmosis that is used to convert salt water into drinking water. And they have done that successfully. There's a lot of places in Canada that does the same thing. We are right around the sea, surrounded. Jamaica is surrounded by the sea. And not just the sea, there are several water tables in Jamaica. If we don't see this as a priority, when you walk into communities, one of the main concerns that people have is water, roads and water. Roads and water. And these are two things that the government must, there's no if ands about it. The government must examine NWC, look at what they are mandated to do, and just ensure that they have what it takes to get it done. I don't believe they do. I don't believe they have the expertise there to get it done. I hear people complaining about pipes. Would I look down at the NWC down at in Montego Bay and see the hundreds and hundreds of pipes on the floor down there? Mark, I'm no expert. So I'm not going to come here to tell you that the pipe sitting on the ground can solve Jamaica's problem. Perhaps they're not adequate. Perhaps they are mismatched. Perhaps they're not the best quality. I don't know. But I'm just saying what I see from where I sit is hundreds of pipes sitting on the ground. And what I see from a layman's perspective is water running. Water running, the river run right through the town. The same thing happened in St. Elizabeth with the Black River. It runs right through some of the major towns. Why is it that we cannot distribute water? A place like St. Elizabeth. St. Elizabeth was among the first towns or the first parishes to have running water. And today, people are still suffering from not having running water to their pipes. Now, I can understand that there are informal communities, especially in the urban areas, where because of how these houses were constructed, they were constructed with no plans or no basic infrastructure like the water, the light, and the roads in place prior to people building. You're going to find it difficult to add these commodities to people. However, it doesn't negate the fact. Go in there and regularize them and charge them. I think most of the persons who are living in what some people call informal settlements, if given an opportunity, they'll pay. I mean, Mark, not all of them are going to pay. We have to just face the reality. But we have to do something about our water problem. A lot of persons here are saying that there are persons in the entities who are sabotaging the government and stuff. I don't even want to go that route. I don't want to politicize it, because some things just need to stay out of the politics. It doesn't matter who, whether it is Labour government or PNP government, water issue in Jamaica is not a government problem. It's an NWC problem. And I know people might say, well, if it's an NWC problem, NWC is an arm of government, so it's a government problem. I can understand that as well. But where I'm drawing the line is that I believe that the government would have given their support behind NWC. But NWC in of itself, it doesn't seem to me like they have the expertise within those halls to get the job done. It doesn't seem so to me. It doesn't seem to me like they are equipped with the right people, to get it done. And as such, I think the government needs to step in there, because what is happening, folks, and if you want to politicize it, you can, because you can look at it and understand that when people don't have water, they're not going to blame NWC. They're going to blame their political representative. They're going to look to their members of parliament and their councillors and councillors caretakers for water. Most of the people I speak to on a daily basis, are common voters who really and truly all they want is basic things. They don't want a lot of big stuff. People said, just give me my road and my water, me good. The gentleman today told me, him said, me don't want nothing from government. Just want water and road. Just give me water and road. Give me access to running water. Then we pay for it. They'll pay for it. And that is a problem. Debo, how you doing, my brother? Big up yourself, man. Good to see you. Greg, over there in Canada, big up yourself, man. Good to see you on. But water issue has been a problem for decades. It's nothing new. From when I was a boy, we truck water. And every year, the problem I have, is that you're repeating yourself. You're making the same mistake over and over and over. And you're doing the same thing. So every year we can know that there's going to be a drought. Now, I traverse through South St. Elizabeth, and I've seen several wells being dug there, right? They have a lot of wells compared to what they had a few years ago. So at least the folks over in St. Elizabeth is realizing that they have to do something to mitigate against the drought that comes around yearly. If you notice, for the last 5 or 8 years or so, you've not heard any major fallout in agriculture on the south side because of drought. I remember that was a yearly thing where people suffer, cattle, farm produce suffer because there was a drought issue down there. Well, they have put in place several wells, and those wells seem to be paying off because the farmers now seem to be activating and accessing their own water. Now, that's farming. Why can't we take the same approach now in fixing where households are concerned? There are areas today that is out of water, but there's water running in the stream right behind their yards. And I find that difficult to explain to some persons. Why is it that you have the Black River running behind your house, but you can't get running water in your pipe? Why is it that you have the Barnett River running down the stream, but Carnal Court have no water, Salt Spring have no water, Flower Hill have no water, Rose Heights have no water, Rosemount have no water, right? Why is it? But then there's water running down the stream down there. It's a distribution problem. Somebody is collecting a fat salary every month for years too, not just now, for decades. And the expectation was that these persons would have put in place something to fix Jamaica's water distribution problem. Well, they have failed. They have failed. And whether it is a JLP government that is in office or it is a PNP government that is in office, anyone, the fact of the matter is that NWC have failed in its mandate. They cannot collect money. That's number one. And any entity that government has that don't have the ability to collect its own revenue, you should consider scrapping that entity. I remember years ago when the income tax department of Jamaica just could not collect taxes. And today, they are bursting through the seams because they have fixed that problem, because they brought persons in who have a good grasp on what to do when it comes to collecting government money. Dr. Nigel Clark seemed to have fixed that problem for most part, and now the revenue is coming in. The same thing can be applied to entities like the National Water Commission. Water Commission has failed in its mandate, and somebody needs to get a hold of it and fix it, because the people are going to consistently argue with the government. There are some simple things that this government can do, that will cement them in office. You see, we out there fighting this battle about removing the king as of head of state. You think that is more important than water? It's not. The emphasis that is placed on that, if we did place the emphasis on putting together an effective committee to look at Jamaica's water distribution problem and come up with a solution that will fix it once and for all, it will serve the people of Jamaica more than this desperate claim to remove the king as head of state. Whatever mean head of state are being removed, I don't know what the benefits are. People want water. That has more impact politically, socially, in every way you can think of. Has more impact. So sometimes we have to look at our priorities, look at what is more important to us. This water problem has been around for decades. The Jamaica Labour Party is known to attack big issues and solve them. One thing I will give them credit for is that this government has the ability to fix some of Jamaica's biggest problems that previous administrations would have talked about but did nothing to fix it. Well, hear me out. I don't know which one I want to listen to me tonight. But I could hold a reason. The water problem in Jamaica is something that government needs to prioritize. And if I could advise anybody, if you fix this water distribution problem that Jamaica has, I don't see any opposition that can beat you. If you just take the steps necessary to fix Jamaica's water distribution problem, I don't think any government, any opposition can beat you. It has to be prioritized. It's a big issue. It's been around for years. Jamaica has suffered. Water, we are the land of wood and water. How can we say we don't have water? And what people are looking at, folks, we have to be careful, you know. People say to me, people say, big man, we can't get the water. But I bet you every hotel don't have water. That's what they say. Now, mark you, I'll tell you something too. Some of the communities that are clamoring for water, they don't pay water bill. Some of them cannot show you one single water bill. But some of them have the loudest mouth when there's no water in the communities. Some of them don't pay a dime in water bill. But again, I cannot blame them. Why? Because the water distribution people, NWC, have a responsibility to put systems in place to collect the revenue. They have a responsibility to go into these communities, put up a system in place to ensure that every household has water and every household can pay. It is government's responsibility to put a system in place to ensure that the least among us have access to water. The most vulnerable in society, a system must be put in place to ensure that those persons can afford water. But the ones who can pay must pay. But we should also put that in the mix, because a lot of communities will hear about water. When you tell them we carry the bill come, so you can call NWC on their behalf, them don't have no bill. Then nobody call you back. Because they don't have a bill, they don't have no invoice. Nobody don't know them. But I can't knock them, because those persons, in my view, if given an opportunity, would pay. They would pay. And while some of them live under circumstances might not be attractive enough for them to pay full like everybody else, but at least they would pay. Put them on a flat rate at a reduced rate and allow them to pay. Connect them to the system, allow them to pay. The government have a responsibility to fix Jamaica's water distribution problem. NWC is an arm of government. And I believe that government would have given them a lot of resources, like most entities have received since the country is doing much better now in terms of collecting revenue. They would have been given some level of assistance to boost them up in distributing water. They answer to nobody. I understand Matty Samuda is going around and he's turning on connecting waters to various communities and stuff. All well and good. But that needs to be quadruple. What he's doing is inadequate. Turning on a one main here and turning on another one there is equivalent to fixing a piece of road, and by the time you get to fixing the other part, this part broke again. It's inadequate. Much more can be done and much more should be done in fixing Jamaica's water distribution problem. NWC has failed the Jamaican people. And somebody need to tell them. Yes, I understand that people steal water a lot. I agree. But let me just tell you something that you probably don't want to hear, my friend. Is that stealing water in Jamaica is not a poor people thing. Some of the most wealthiest organizations, some of the most wealthiest persons in this country, some of the wealthiest persons in this country steal water. Some of the wealthiest persons in this country steal water. Again, that's not their problem. NWC needs to put a system in place to prevent that or to reduce that. So again, it is all hinged on NWC. NWC has failed in its mandate. And the minister needs to get a hold of himself and pull them to books. I know Matthew Samuda. Matthew is a very strong person. And I'm saying to him tonight that the entity that falls under your purview has failed. And you have to do something about it, Mr. Samuda. You have to, because it's going to look bad on you. Every time communities cannot get water, they're going to look to you. The only fortunate thing about it is that you don't sit as a member of parliament that people vote for. So you cannot see the issue like the members of parliaments who have to answer to the people. A senator is selected, an MP is elected. So while I understand the sort of work that Matthew Samuda is doing, and we appreciate it, his focus needs to be on the entity that represents his ministry, the ministry that he is spearheading now. They are failing, and they have failed the Jamaican people for decades. From me, boy, people that truck water. And every time there's a drought, them send some water truck coming to the community. Water truck and black tank is unacceptable. This 10,000 black tank that is going to be issued is unacceptable. People want proper running water, and NWC failed to give it to us. They fail, and they fail miserably. They cannot come to Jamaican people and tell them that there's no water. Water is all over Jamaica. Water runs to every corner of Jamaica. And you can't find a way to distribute it. Shake up NWC, Matthew. Shake them up. Call them to books and say what's happening. Who is going to put together a plan to fix Jamaica's water distribution problem? Who? And if NWC don't have that capability, move out somebody and bring somebody in who can put a plan in place to have adequate water distributed throughout Jamaica. This is a many decades old problem, and we can't fix it. This comes like tasty cheese. For years, and you can't open the can. And even tasty cheese, look at them, I get better now. Because this year I saw a can that you can actually price open, a little one, not much bigger than a sausage can that you can pry open. But we have to start fixing the big problems. The Jamaica Labour Party government, as far as I know, has always taken on the big issues. They've always done that. They've always taken on some of the biggest issues in Jamaica. And if you want to start from Jamaica, going from colonial rule to independent Jamaica, it was the Jamaica Labour Party-led government that did that. When Jamaica was converted from pound, shilling, and pence to dollars and cents, it was the Jamaica Labour Party who did that. Local government, which was not recognized, it was the JLP government that did that. The big issue of fixing the compensation with public sector workers that has been overstepped by previous administrations, the JLP government came in and did that. So the water problem can be fixed. I have absolutely no doubt that they can fix it, and they should do something to fix it. Matthew Samuda, who is the minister in charge, I know you, and I know you can do it. I've listened to you in the Senate. One of the strongest voice we have in Senate. When it comes to dealing with the issues, you have done that. I've seen that. Well, I want you to show that where the National Water Commission is concerned. Bring them to books, hold them accountable, and if they cannot deliver, ship them out. You should not accept anything other than proper running water into people's pipe, Matthew. The issue of black tank is unacceptable. That the days are done. This is modern Jamaica now. Modern Jamaica people want running water in them pipe. And it can happen, and it should happen. I beg you, Matthew, hold NWC accountable. Because if you don't, it is going to continue, and it's going to paint a bad picture of the government. When really and truly, it is not a government issue, quote unquote. And I know persons will say, but the government is responsible for NWC. Yes, I'll accept that. And that is why I'm saying to the minister, examine NWC. Look at some of the local rep. You know what I think that I went to a community recently. I'm going to say it here. I went to a community recently. And there was no water in the community. And a resident said to me, you know why the water is there, sir? Because I don't want to be sound political. I'm going to tell you what the lady said. She said, as some PNP man over there saw them control the lock off, and they lock it off when they want. Them lock it off when them please. For whatever reason. I'm telling you what I heard from the people. Because as you know, the people me go to the source. So me I quote these things. Me don't quote no third and fourth and fifth hand. Me I quote the people them on the ground. Say to me, say, see it over there. So a 4 lakh off you have for your community and a PNP control it. So it is being politicized. Why don't turn it off? Because they want the water to go up for them here out there. So. And these are just factual. I don't know, make up story. I saw it go. So if the minister now step in and learn these things, if you now step in and learn these things, you can't fix them. These are not problems that you fix from Garden House or Belmont Road. These are problems you have to come on the ground and come talk to the people and understand why things are happening the way they're happening. Why some communities are out of water. Imagine in Central St. James, several communities are out of water right now. Several communities are out of water. A lot of communities, Because as you know, that constituency has about 70, my MP like to say 77.7% informal settlements. In other words, there are communities that weren't set up, the normal way communities are to be set up. But the fact of the matter, they are hardworking people who live in these communities. And I'm quite certain that most of these persons would prefer to pay their water bill. So when they steal water, they don't steal water simply because they don't want to pay. A lot of these people steal water because they have to steal access. If NWC had gone into these so-called informal community and provide them with legitimate connections, right? I'm quite certain a significant amount of them would pay. I'm not saying that all will. All of them won't. Because when JPS brought in the REMI system into communities, people still find creative ways to circumvent it and not pay. So we know the nature of the Jamaican people that we're dealing with. But notwithstanding that, if you, NWC, take steps to prevent these things, you can minimize the amount of theft and you can increase the revenue you collect. We cannot expect that water, NWC must be a profitable organization. NWC don't need to be a profitable institution. Water must be subsidized by government. So nobody must expect that NWC must be profitable. It must make a profit. No! It must be subsidized that the least and the lowest and the most vulnerable among the society can have access to clean running water like everybody else at a reduced price. So, I think I beat NWC enough. And I think my good friend Matthew might have gotten the message. I hope he does. And I hope he will take my advice in looking at NWC. Forget about what the technocrats in Kingston tell you. Forget about what the technocrats in Kingston tell you. They're going to paint a rosy picture of what's happening because they are concerned and they are more looking at what they can make. I'm telling you this as somebody who have your political interests at heart, the government that you represent. Fix the water problem and you will remain government for life. Fix the water distribution problem and you remain government for life. Folks, it was a pleasure coming to you tonight. Same time, same place next week. We're slated to have Dr. Nadine Spence. We should have the Minister of Constitutional Affairs because we want to look at this whole CFC committee and what it is hoping to achieve. Shelley Taurus, Rosie Spence. Hi, Rosie, how are you doing? Henry Williams, big up yourself. Everybody who tuned in, we appreciate you as always. My apologies for these internet glitches. Alexandra, my brother, New York City, so big we name it twice. Good to see you. Kirk, the Prosperity King, good to see you as well. David Palmer, big up yourself. Sunny Days, good to see you. Magnus, my friend over there in Atlanta, the big A. Boy, we miss Atlanta, but it's life. Kenroy Thomas, big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself. Good to see you all. Next week, same time, same place. Labor right. Big up yourself. Shelley, big up yourself. Dwight Debo Crawford, big up yourself, my brother. Good to have you on. We hope that one of these weeks you'll join us so we can have a chit chat and you can tell us a little bit about what's happening in your neck of the woods. Amy Sinclair, big up yourself. Richard Ramsey, big up yourself. Carlton Samuels, Shanti Johnson, big up yourself. All the best to you all. thank you again to Carlene Vickers and to Whitney Smith Curry. We didn't get a chance to get Mr. Godfrey on. Hopefully we'll rearrange and reorganize. We get them back on, guys. Don't worry about it. I think they're having some internet issue down in their neck of the woods. And we were not spared either. We were having a little bit of internet problem too. So we're going to reorganize, re-energize. Remember, guys, our YouTube channel is hungry and is starving and need for you guys to hop over to the Chops Media YouTube channel and subscribe. Press that notification bell so that you'll get notified once we go live. We are also on TikTok. For those of you, Rosie and Devon McLean and Keisha Mack and David Palmer and Shanti Johnson and all you folks, hop over to TikTok. Get us to 1,000 so we can go live on TikTok as well. Get us to 1,000. We're almost there. We're about 750. They're about almost 800. Get us there. If everybody here goes over to TikTok and follow me on TikTok, that will get us up to 1,000. Then we can also go live on TikTok as well. Big up yourself. Enough respect to you all. Peace. And we are out.